Thanks very much for inviting me along, and it's really nice to meet everyone here today. As Nathan said, I'm Jonathan Starck. I work at a company called Synthesia, and what I'd like to do is give you three things. I'd like to tell you a little bit about us as a company. Who are Synthesia? What are we doing? Why are we excited about video first worlds? What does that mean for us? I'd like to tell you a little bit about the journey. As Nathan said, we started in 2017. We started development in 2018. And we were working on text to video in 2020. So I want to give you a picture of what that journey was like for us. And of course, last year we went to Series C and we reached unicorn status. So it's been a big scale up over the last few years. So I'll tell you about our journey and also tell you about our AI research, which is really centered on our avatars. And you can see an avatar here. So I'll talk a lot about digital humans and development of text to video for human presenters in video content. So hopefully there's something interesting for you all to take away. And let's see if I can go on. Okay, so this was the premise for the business. Simple observation, back in 2017, we believed that we're moving into a video-first world, even if we're not there already. And statistics here, I think on X, people watch 2 billion videos a day. We clearly consume a lot of video content, and we do so because it's just more interesting. And for business, which is our value proposition, we noticed that people don't read content or text or emails. They can absorb a little bit of information from an image, but they absorb and they engage with video. So this was our premise, and we wanted to bring video creation to business to be able to communicate, because it's the most effective way to communicate and share knowledge. So this is where we started, and we wanted to bring this to enterprises to scale up their engagement and knowledge sharing. And of course, it's kind of obvious, everybody wants to use video, and it's certainly possible. And today you can watch great promos, you can watch great training materials, and it's produced with conventional production processes. So in my background, I worked in film visual effects for a decade. In 2017, I was working on visual effects tools for big budget movies. And I had a kind of big view on how complicated production is. And this is just a snapshot. If you want to produce a beautiful video, you have to plan to the nth degree. You have to go through a pre-production process of planning. You have to go on set. You have to get actors acting out your script. You then have to take the raw footage to post-production, you have to edit it and turn it into that one piece of linear material that you envisaged 3 months ago, 6 months ago, in movies many decades ago. So the problem with video creation that we saw, the problem that we set out to solve, is that it's a very physical process. It's a physical process with a lot of expertise that's required to get to an endpoint that's maximized for consumption. You've got to create one piece of content that reaches perhaps the lowest common denominator to maximize your return on investment. So this is the problem we set out to solve. And see if I can click through. This is where we're at today. So what you're looking at here is Synthesia. We kind of think of this as a video production studio in a browser. So you can log in to a web page. On that web page, you can start creating videos instantly just from text as an input. And the barrier to entry is as low as possible. Everyone should be able to jump on board, jump onto the web page and start creation. And there's a few things I'd pull out here. So in the world of video, if you've worked with video, you have a timeline, you have elements, you have visual effects stacks. It's a very complicated process. Here we're creating video, and it's very clean, it's very simple, and actually it looks a lot like a slide deck, because a lot of people are used to creating slides. We think a lot about how to simplify the process. Actually, the timeline that you work with for creation is the text. Text is a universal input. I can actually do something in my video at this point when I work with the word available. I can create different scenes and different contexts in my video just by creating a new slide with the information that I want there and the script I want my presenter to give at that point in time. And of course, the central element is the ideal presenter that's talking you through the information. So this is our AI avatar, and I can jump on a web page, I can start typing a script with no preconception, I can start working with an idea, and I can work with a performer who's there delivering my content at the end of the day. So one thing that I found really interesting coming from video production world, film world, is that in that decade of film that I saw, there was a lot of talk about speeding the iteration of creation, making it a much more creative process. If you've got a process where you have to plan everything in stages with multiple people involved, it's not a creative process at all. But as soon as you've got everything in front of you at the point of creation, you can just come up with a new idea. You can iterate, you can try something new. So this is now a much more creative process. It's also super scalable because you can go and put variables in here. I can create a video where I can put a tag for a name, and then I can recreate this video personalized to every single person that's going to watch it. So you can create personalized content at scale, you can create it in any language, and you can create it in a matter of minutes as opposed to months, which conventional production takes. So that's the journey of what we set out to do, and this is the point that we're at now. And just want to show you what that looks like. So this is the state of the technology today. This is a video created with Synthesia using one of our AI avatars. And this is the latest generation. So this is a model called Express One that produces generative motion. And I'll tell you a little bit about our journey to get to create this model, but just to show you what it looks like.
Hello there. Let me introduce to you Spend Smartly's exciting new feature, auto savings. With it, saving money becomes a seamless and enjoyable part of your life. Let me explain. We round up to the nearest dollar and boost your savings whenever you shop. Coffee, groceries. Every swipe adds up. I could buy a house already. Join Spend Smartly now and turn your everyday purchases into future savings.
So the AI research that we do, our goal is to create completely realistic, believable people. And this was created just by typing in a script, and you get that video generated for you in 5 minutes. And just thinking back in history to 2017, at that point in time in the movie industry, it took, 3 months, 6 months, hundreds of artists working to create a few seconds of footage. So this space of digital humans has just completely changed within that period of time. So these are our AI avatars. And within our AI research group, which is 45 researchers at this point in time and infrastructure team around them, they're working on this problem. We want to create human-level avatars that connects and communicates so that businesses can create a brand presenter that engages with viewers, and they can create video at a scale that just isn't possible with physical production. So make them look real. That's the target. And this is the journey that we've been on. We kind of started development in 2018. We hit product market fits in 2021. And now we're at this point where we've company size of 350. And in my head, these are kind of 3 big stages of the business. I think of the first stage as the wilderness era. I think of the second stage as starry-eyed wonder. Oh my God, what are we doing? What have we managed to do? And now we're at the stage of turning this into a slick operational machine. And there's the few things that I pull out here for our experience in building a business. So first of all, in the wilderness zone, this was several years where we were working on a problem with a vision and a belief where there was no proven capability that it could be achieved. So we were saying, one day you'll be able to create photoreal content in a web browser. And it was really only the end of 2018 where generative models were becoming available for single image generation, let alone production quality video that businesses want to use. So here we were in the dark and no one believed us. And we set about cutting down the problem to something much simpler to build out the stages of the technology. We did that as a service offering. So instead of fully generated video, we were working on lip syncing to give natural native language dubbing. So take one video, scale up the value by taking it to many languages, by editing lip sync, so that you got natural looking dubs. So we started with that, and we built a service to build the technology out, and then we moved that to a self-service platform. And that was the point where it was unlock for adoption and scale up, and we saw product market fit around repurposing that technology in a way that it could be used by businesses to create instructional videos. Then we got to scaling up that platform. We'd built a category. AI avatars weren't used for communication at this point in time, so it was a new category. We were the category leaders, and we had to continuously double down and build out the value for that one area. So avatars had to get better, platform had to get easier so that we can scale up users. And now we're at the point where we're seeing a new inflection with the capability of our avatars to start addressing new verticals, and that's where we're scaling up at this point. So perhaps an interesting journey. And what I'd highlight for our research is we have addressed building the technology in a particular way. We've always been very deliberately opinionated on what is going to come next, even though it's not clear that it's possible. And we've always been building for that. And as we go and we're very opinionated on that vision, we try and cut down and see where there is the opportunity to validate some value in that with potential different customer sets. So we've had this long-term track of building out the research while seeing where there is opportunity. And I want to tell you the journey through that for our avatars. And there's 3 stages, and we've not got it right all of the time, but most of the time. So the first stage, this is the wilderness zone, 2018. We were working on video editing. So there's an existing video production chain. You can record David Beckham for a campaign, which is fantastic to eradicate malaria. You can do existing video production and record David once. You can use that video and you can repurpose it by editing to change some of the performance. So this is what I think of as the replay era. Take a video, replay it, but edit some of it to get some new value out. And the value was dubbing here. So take David, he can speak 9 languages, he can connect with people in their native tongue to spread a key message. So video editing with GANs, and of course, as I said before, GANs and Style GAN only came out at the end of 2018, and we were trying to use it for video editing and prove out that you could get to production quality content this way. And so that's the GAN era. And from there, we realized with this replay and edit approach, what you could do is you could record a presenter, record them in a, let's say, a fairly generic type of motion, and you could replay that and edit what they say to create text to video. So record your presenter once, take text to speech, you convert your text to speech, and then you could edit that replayed motion so that they say something new. And this was a very simple idea, simple observation. We created a platform around it, and we focused on instructional video content, so learning and development material, because even though the avatars at this stage were not that good, they were a little bit boring, it was still much more engaging to watch someone doing something generic than read a PDF. So this is why we realized that a platform was possible, and we were seeing adoption for creating training materials with avatars based on replay technology. So that's video editing and GANs. And from there, we have this track of always pushing for the vision of the future. And the vision of the future is that storytelling is the best way to communicate. If you watch a great video, if you watch a promo or an advert, you absorb the information, there's a product, it'll probably influence you to buy it, but you watch and you engage with a story. So we're looking at our avatar technology based on replay, and we're thinking, gosh, they are very boring. We want them to tell stories. And in a story, you have edits that change the viewpoints, the person is in the context of the environment around them. Effectively, if you could build a 3D representation, you could tell stories because you can take your avatars, put them in a location, and create different shots for the viewer to engage with the story. So we started to work on 3D avatars. What you're looking at here, we were working on in 2022, published in 2023, building full volumetric representations. So this was when Nerfs came out. We thought, oh gosh, Nerfs could give us 3D avatars, our users could create stories. So this is 3D video. We built a 3D video codec, and you're watching some of the actors that work with us to create avatars, and this is their 3D representation. And actually, what I would hope you take away from looking at this, the fidelity is phenomenal, actually. So this is at production quality. But it does have two problems. First of all, we're still watching replay. You have to edit it, and editing the 3D dynamics of this motion is non-trivial. No clear way to do it even now. And also, to capture this, to replay, well, you need quite an expensive studio because you need many, many cameras to capture this sort of content. So this is technology that we have, but looking at our products, looking at our user requirements, we saw adoption scaling just with, let's call it 2D avatars. People were using it, and people were just asking for more natural, more engaging, more realistic avatars to deliver their content. So 3D avatars are in our back pocket, but we went back to looking at how you generate the performance. And the big switch here with avatar technology, again, that I'd like you to take away, is a lot of technology has been based on replay. We have quite a lot of competitors now in this space that we've created. They're all using replay. Record a video, replay the action, you see it over and over again, but to get to a realistic performance, it needs to be generative. So when I talk about being excited to be here, I should do something with my body that's very excited, as opposed to doing something generically a bit boring. So we've been focused on building a generative model of motion for presenters. And this is what you see here, and you saw in the original video I showed you at the beginning. So this is our Express One. It's generating the facial performance, how she smiles when she talks about something that's happy. It's generating the body motion, the body language that's associated with how she speaks. And here we're getting to an inflection point on our use cases, because now this avatar is interesting, expressing her emotions, her feelings. We can start to create content that people want to watch because they're engaged with the presenter. Subtle difference, but that's the difference between watching something that's learning and development and sales, marketing, and promo content. So if you're watching a sales video, you'll only watch it if it's interesting. And for that, you want to watch a presenter that you want to engage with. They're a personality. So this is where we want to get to next. Also has a little bit of history for me. So you see the green overlay on the face? So this is a 3D face model. And the trajectory of this technology, this is now built on diffusion models. It's been unlocked with diffusion because diffusion can model the multimodal distribution of what you do with your hands. It's not deterministic. People do many different things with their hands. This has been a big unlock. It's also been a big unlock for us in how we solve the problem. So when we started in 2017, to simplify the problem, we started with domain knowledge for faces. So we worked with VFX artists to build out a VFX level head model that represents the dynamics of humans in speech. And that made the problem much, much simpler. And you're seeing it as an overlay on top here, because it kind of makes it look CG and sexy. But that's not strictly necessary anymore. So what we do today is move away from requiring domain knowledge inserted into the problem to learning directly from the data itself. So we're building out latent learned representations of dynamics of people in order to then put that into a generative model. that creates it. So it's not an end-to-end system, it is multiple stages, but kind of end-to-end learning from the data that we train with. And this has been unlocked by diffusion models. And now things are getting very exciting, of course, because around this space, we called it synthetic media to begin with. Now it is known as generative AI. And we're seeing the space of Gen AI models being able to create human-level content based on learning from a huge variety of data. So we have models like Stable Diffusion, models like Midjourney, diffusion models that now can create human-level images. We have Sora. This is the image, the video that actually Nathan showed earlier. Sora, Kling, the latest dream machine that's just been released. These are coming out, I don't know, it seems weekly. We can create human-level video from text. And of course, with the world of GPT, you can create human-level text. Now, what's really exciting for our space, we work on text to the human performance. For us, it's really important to have control for our users to get exactly the brand presenter that they want, and control for that brand presenter to be on point, do the right thing at the right time for the right message. So we need control. It's not that we could just take something like Sora and solve our problem. But what these models show us is that you can learn compositionality. I think I made that word up. They learn to compose new things, novel things that are completely plausible, that haven't been seen before. It's a subtle point, but for example, you can create a llama sitting on the moon with a space helmet, and it will look real, but it's never been recorded before. And what does that mean for avatars? Well, this is kind of a sneak peek preview of things that are in the oven in our AI research group. This is one of our avatars. This is Alex. She's actually one of the first actresses that we worked with, and she comes back to create her new generation of avatar every year. But this is Alex. She was recorded with 5 minutes, actually doing the normal be a boring presenter. But because we can leverage diffusion models trained on our data sets, we've now worked with thousands of actors, so we can train with a relatively large variation of data. We can use those models to create completely novel content. And this is my personal obsession, coming from the world of VFX, coming from the world of digital humans. For me, realism is all about the dynamics that you look at. Voice is pretty good now, but what we need is the dynamics of what someone does being completely natural. So years ago, in the movie industry, the grand challenge was the uncanny valley. I don't know if you've heard about the uncanny valley. You watch something, and you don't know what it is. It's just off. It's not right. It's uncanny. And the trick is, and will be, when the dynamics are correct for the context and what they're saying, and it just matches, trained on realistic data of actors, it's no longer uncanny. So we can solve the uncanny valley. So that's my dream. And Alex is living the dream. This is her doing lots of things, engaging with you, the viewer. So that's where we're at. We are focused on enabling businesses to create linear video content, but at an unprecedented scale. But our view is that this is really the start of what is going to happen with video. You know, it's really going to change as a format. Formats change all of the time. It was that on the left-hand side. I even remember when it was like that. Things change, formats change, and video will change as well. So at the point that you can create on demand for personal preference, video will become an interactive, immersive medium. I think not about immersion in terms of headsets on your head. I think about immersion being the screen that you look at on your web page, being something that's much more interactive visual element that you work with and you go through and you explore. And this will be with content that's created on demand for your personal preferences. So that's what we see coming next, and we want to enable businesses to be able to create this content. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time.